G'day guys. Okay, so if you are a part of the Facebook group, you will know that I was doing this on Saturday. I wanted to have a play with some different mediums to show you how different colours work with different, not so much the colours, but the different mediums. When you mix them together, the results that you might get. So quite often, first of all, if you're new to my channel, this is something that I normally am just scrapping, but this is something that I wanted to show you guys because I've had quite a few people say sort of, what's mixed media? Like, what is it? I don't understand it. And that is fine. That is what I'm here for. I want you to ask me this stuff, and if I have the answer or if I have the ability, I will bring it to you. So what I wanted to do is I picked two colors in my range of different mediums that I have. So I picked raspberry and peacock feathers, mainly because I like those two colors. But I have those different colors in the Distress ink, the Distress Oxide, the Distress crayons, and the Distress watercolor pencils. Okay, so what I'm doing for you at the minute is creating a control so you guys can see exactly what happens when you add a little bit of water to, because all of these are water reactive. Every single one of these products is water reactive. Okay, so the watercolor pencils are obviously watercolor, the crayons are water reactive as well, and the Distress Oxides, being a pigment dye base, they are water reactive as well. So is the Distress ink. Now I've done the control for you. Don't stress about writing everything down. I'll have it all listed below, and if you want to jump over to the Facebook group, I will have photos up close, full on, so you can see the results yourself since it's all dried, and you can see what the results look like. So what I'm going through and doing is I'm just writing a list. Okay, so I'm using the two colors to give you sort of a green blue direction, and I'm giving you a pink direction. Now, I've chosen pink for a reason. The reason I picked it is because pink is quite often a difficult color to be able to mix with different mediums and make sure that it's exactly the same color. It is difficult, and if there's ever going to be a color that isn't quite right, I'm sorry if you can hear whippersnipping, by the way, that's my husband. So basically, if there's a color that it's going to have a reaction with, I pretty much bank on the fact it'll be pink. So I picked raspberry, and don't worry, as this goes along, I figure out an easier way to do this, but stick with me because it's going to give me some waffle time to explain some stuff. So basically all I did is I've pulled out my darkroom door small dots stencil. I have sprayed it on the back with Crafter's Choice spray adhesive. Now I do that because it gives me the best result and it holds it down. That's just my take on. I've had a lot more success with stencils since I've been spraying them on the back with the spray adhesive. Now, it doesn't ruin your project. It doesn't do anything to your project. You spray it on, give it 30 seconds to a minute. It tacks up on the back, and you can reposition it a million times, and eventually it wears out, obviously, but yeah, you don't have to take it back off. And so that's why I don't have to keep hanging on to it. Now, this first line that I'm doing, I have chosen the Ranges Transparent Matte Texture Paste. This particular one, the main property that I have this for is because it's transparent. So it will take on whatever color I want to add to it. It will take on that color, but it's kind of see-through. You know how like you can see, I kind of, in my brain, the way I think of it is it's like a piece of cellophane versus a piece of cardboard. So the transparent Ranges Transparent Matte Texture Paste. It gives you texture, so it gives you depth, but it remains clear. It's not shiny when it's finished. It dries matte, and it takes on the color that you add to it. Now, why I wanted to do 2 different colors, again, like I said, because I want you to get the idea across 2 different colors, but I also wanted to use the Distress ink because that is a dye ink, okay? It is by its very definition, it is transparent. So you can build it up on top of itself, but you can't lay another color over the top of it. They will mix and get muddy, if that helps you understand it. So that's what a dye ink does. Now, a Distress Oxide, it's kind of like a hybrid. It's in between. It has pigment ink and dye ink combined together to give you the Distress Oxide. Now, basically, I'll explain it the best way I possibly can. I am not a scientist, okay? I am not a colorist. I do not have a degree. This is just what I've learnt by playing. So the Distress Oxide, you can layer it up. So you can put the pink down and then you can come in with the peacock feathers on top, and it will go on top of it because it's got pigment ink in it, okay? So it will allow you to build it up. Now, this is the difference. So when I add the Distress Oxide and the Distress ink, you get 2 completely different looks, okay? They are Distress ink, it's transparent, like you can see through it. I imagine it to, if you can imagine cellophane, you can see through it. Whereas the Distress Oxide mixed with the transparent, it actually is like having a piece of cardstock. You can't see through it because it's got the Distress Oxide in it, right? So now what I'm doing is something that I know, don't come at me. I'm doing this for you guys. Okay, so this is actually a small, it's called, I actually only got it last week. It's a Distress product. It's called Grit Paste, and it's in the color CRYPT. Now, yes, I just said it's in the color. It is, because it's not clear, it's not white, it's not transparent. It actually has a color already in it, which makes it on its own a spooky kind of Stonehenge kind of color. Now, I wanted to know, for my own curiosity, can I color it? I know it's already greeny colored, but can I color it? Can I make it into what I want to make it into? If I decide to use that particular product in a girly way, can I do that? And you know what? You can. You can. Was I overly blown away by the pink part of it? No. There was not one pink element that I would have said jumps out at me the most. However, the Distress Crayon, when it was mixed with the Grit Paste CRYPT color, it actually looked, before I put it through the stencil, like if I had done it in a larger area, imagine dragon fruit. I know, I'm going in a weird zone here, but imagine dragon fruit. That is what it looked like. You know, with the dragon fruit with the black seeds, because the CRYPT has got that grit to it, that's what it reminded me of. It didn't remind me of watermelon because it wasn't that, the grit's not that big, but it automatically sent me to dragon fruit. So, was it a complete waste of time, effort, and playing? Absolutely not. I will, as I said, I'll have the photos up over on Facebook. Have a look, zoom in on all the pictures and you can see. I will be honest with you, the transparent matte, going back one medium, there is there is actually, when it comes to that, there was one color that it just did not, the color didn't transfer. I know that sounds weird, but the watercolor pencil did not come out a true picked raspberry. Did I expect it? I figured it would happen on something. I figured the pink would play up and turn a different color with one of the mediums. Didn't know which one it would be, but it turns out it was the Ranger Transparent Matte Texture Paste combined with the Distress Watercolor Pencil. Is it a deal breaker? No. It's just one of those things that, you know, we can, if I put the matte texture paste down and then use the watercolor pencil on top of it, true picked raspberry, not a problem. It's because I mixed it together. So I'm technically changing a little bit. Okay. Now, the next row of colors that I'm using is actually just the Distress. So I know I've got all of them up there, and I know I showed you the other little pot that comes with the CRYPT. There was CRYPT and there was, I'm sorry, I've forgotten it off the top of my head. There was CRYPT and the other one was Grave. Now, I never used Grave because I got the result, the answers I wanted from CRYPT, and Grave is just more like a normal textured paste, and it does have a color to it. I'm making the assumption that if I choose to change the color of it down the track, that it would work, and I'll just do a test page, just do a test bit there and then. I didn't really feel like it was all that and then some to do it again on this particular video. So I skipped over that one and I went straight to the Distress Texture Paste in Matte. Now, this one, it, along with the Grave, it's the same stuff. It's pretty much, it looks exactly the same. It's just a bit colored. So that's why I skipped over it. Every single one of those turned out beautiful. Perfect. Beautiful. It was at this point that I made a little bit of a discovery. This is what happens when you buy lots of different mixed media mediums. You quite often will buy something that's almost the same as the next thing. Now, I actually purchased the Crafters Workshop. It's called TCW on the packet, but it's called the Crafters Workshop Light and Fluffy Modeling Paste. Now, that's what I'm using here at the moment. And I have to be honest with you, I bought that stuff purely to have a play, to see if I liked it. Is it a texture I like to feel when it's on my layout? Is it going to hold up over time? Is it going to crack? Is it all those questions? I love it. Absolutely love it. What I did notice though, it is pretty much identical, obviously different companies, all that sort of thing, but it behaves almost identically to the Distress Texture Paste in Matte. So, do you need both of them in your arsenal? Nah. No, you don't. I will categorically say buy one or the other. Unless you're like me and you like to play with different things and get different results and maybe give feedback to other people so they can buy one product instead of the other. Now, I can tell you right now that I will only be replacing one or the other. I won't buy both again because it's crazy. Like, why? The only reason I wanted to try it is because, to be quite honest, I have always used my Montmart gesso and my Montmart modeling paste, and the reason I wanted this one is because it was light and fluffy, is in the description. I wanted it to see if it would be light and I don't know, it was kind of hard to explain. I wanted to see if it had a different grit to it, to give it a different texture, and it does. So again, also with all of this, guys, remember, if you're using modeling paste and stencils, clean them quickly. Okay, so here I am just cutting out the one that I didn't end up using. So you can see them, see all the dots lined up. Now, if you have a quick look, so that one I did not use. So that one I'm showing you, I didn't use it. These are the controls. Okay, so hang on. This is where I'm trying to figure out how to get this to work on the video. Photos are better. I'll just let you know that. The link is in the description to go over and see the photos. Okay. Now I'm zooming in so you can see it a little bit better. So you can see the Ranger, the matte. Now have a look in that first column all the way to the very bottom. So it's all right, I'm struggling here because I wanted you to see. Now see that one right at the very bottom? That's the watercolor pencil mixed with the Ranger transparent matte texture paste. And it just changed the color. And this is inherently a problem with pink. This is what happens. You need the chemists and the scientists behind I'm pointing to it now. So that is watercolor pencil, and that is the transparent matte. Now, that's what it is, and it just changed. The color completely changed. It went sort of tangerine looking. So everything else though, I was happy with. That row that I'm saying there, the CRYPT. Now, see, you can see that it's green, right? So obviously I knew that by adding color to it, it's going to change. It just made it darker and more brutish looking. I loved it. This one, the distressed texture paste. Blah, blah. So you can see the colors are true. They were totally true to not a problem. As per what was on the package is the result you got. So obviously the CRYPT, I expected the grit paste, I expected the color to be different because it's going into a color. Now this is where I'm trying to make up my mind to give you which one I prefer the most. Which one do I prefer? I would have to say they're even. They really are even. They probably, it would come down to, when it comes to replacing, it will come down to cost, replacement cost value. That's what it'll come down to between those two options, and that's about it. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, and jump over to Facebook for the photos. Bye for now.